Asia has been home to the oldest and richest cultures in human history. Like a gem, this continent has attracted the world's attention with its breathtakingly diverse terrain and people, its historic significance, its contribution to modern science, technology, art, and most importantly, cuisine. Therefore, it's no surprise that we keep coming across incredible finds in this glorious continent home to some mind-boggling miracles. From landscapes that seem out of this world to artistic architecture built solely to honor the dead, some pretty unique things have been discovered in Asia, and in today's video we will be educating you guys about the 15 weirdest things people have discovered in Asia. So hold on tight and make sure to watch till the end, because some of these will definitely blow your mind. Before we begin exploring this magnificent continent, do take a moment to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to turn on the notifications. Let's get started.
Face keenies. They might look like antagonists from Batman movies, but don't worry, they're just protecting their skin. If you visited any beaches or swimming pools in China in the past decade, you may well have seen people wearing one of the latest trendy Chinese fashion accessories, the face keenie. These terrifying hood-mask combinations are really nothing more than balaclavas made from stretchy swimsuit material that have somehow been marketed as fashionable. They're primarily worn to protect the skin from the sun's harmful UV rays and to prevent tanning, which Chinese women in particular avoid like the plague. They can also protect a swimmer against jellyfish stings and against any chance that I will approach within 100 feet.
India's butterball. The boulder you see in the footage isn't held in place by some artificial mechanism. Though it's really impossible for a rock this size to not roll down a slope, somehow this particular one seems to have been frozen in time. Experts think that this enormous rock is a glacial erratic that somehow ended up perfectly balanced on a hill. But the locals have a slightly different theory to explain this. According to Hindu mythology, Lord Krishna was a huge fan of butter, and the believers think this rock is a huge dollop of that butter he dropped here, and that's why it's called the Sky God Stone. But the name Butterball was given to it by a local tour guide who's been showing this miraculous boulder to visitors for over 20 years. Currently, this is a huge tourist attraction and woos many visitors from around the world who try and push it down, but to date, everyone who tried has failed to do so. The rain vortex. This breathtaking masterpiece is an amalgam of science, art and architecture at its best. This one-of-a-kind indoor waterfall can be seen enhancing the beauty of Singapore's Jewel Changi Airport. It seems straight out of a science fiction movie. The roof is formed to act like a funnel that collects rainwater and shoots it out the other end in a stunning display. The beauty of this waterfall is doubled the surrounding forest of local flora and fauna. The Singapore airport was already famous for being one of the most modern airports, and this waterfall has just added to its stature and value. The rain vortex gets its water supply from rainwater that's collected from the top and flows through the inverted glass dome. 10,000 gallons of water are poured down this funnel per second, and the dome itself is made of ultra-hard glass that absorbs all the noise created by the planes flying in and out of the airport. The design is state-of-the-art and was concocted keeping in mind all the requirements of the airport so it doesn't interfere with any of the operations or communication channels. Iron Pillar of Delhi. Though this pillar doesn't appear to be an exceptional piece of architecture that would attract your attention, if you study it closely and dive deep into its history, you'd understand why it's so important. This single long pillar standing in the capital of India is about 1600 years old, but it doesn't look so old. Iron is known as a metal that rusts, but as it turns out, the ancient people who built this pillar were aware of the science of rust-proofing metal. So this means they're way ahead of their time and get much less credit than they deserve. Since its construction, this pillar has barely rusted, and this is probably what forced the experts to classify it as an out-of-place artifact. Maybe it's the correct decision, as the pillar truly is quite futuristic for its time and does defy natural laws. Japan's panty vending machines. In Tokyo, Japan, you can go to the vending machines that dispense pre-worn underwear. This niche vending machine is meant to reassure the buyer that the underwear has been worn and works well. There is a large industry dealing in ladies' used undergarments sold in less than fresh box condition. These vending machines are available for service 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. However, underpants aficionados say that here you don't get the top quality used items, for which you need to visit specific outlets. Most probably these products are for kicker tourists. These are actually fake versions of soiled underwear that are manufactured to look like they're worn, and at times the fake smell is added to these. Great Wall of China toboggan. Nowadays, you can experience the gorgeous scenery and architecture of the Great Wall of China without having to walk miles. Besides the advantage of not getting tired, you also get to take a joyride that makes it feel much more adventurous than a boring tread. This slide has been made to provide tourists with a much more fun way to explore the wall by whizzing down this slide. All you have to do is drive 2 hours north to a particular section of the wall and descend to the top. From there, you can reach the base by using this steep and loopy slide. The view is gorgeous. You get to speed downhill in just 5 minutes. That's some epic fun we wouldn't want to miss out on. Wara art. This is art created from rice straws. Wara actually means rice straws in Japanese. Many incredible huge animal sculptures are created using the excess rice straw in Japan, including lions, bears, elephants, and many other creatures from Japanese mythology. This straw is the leftover from the annual seasonal harvest. The sculptors showcased their masterpieces in the Wara Art Festival that was first organized in 2008 with help from the art students of Tokyo and the local agricultural community. The aim is to bring attention to these materials and the phenomenal skills of the artists. It also emphasizes the importance of cultural farmers and their invaluable contribution to the nation. You can see in the footage how remarkable these sculptures are. Not everyone can make these. The artists truly deserve all the praise they get and more. Creepy human face-shaped cup lid. A South Korean designer, Chang Hwang-siak, designed a creepy cup lid resembling the human face. The coffee lover has to drink from the lower lip on the lid. Chang said that he loved the combination of hot beverages and kisses. He got daily hot coffee, but not kisses. One day he started to think of an idea for drawing a kiss from a cup lid. The lid comes in black and white colors. Initially he just put lips on the lid. Later he realized he would add the rest of the facial features to make the kiss a more realistic experience. This surprising cup lid can make people using it smile. Great Banyan Tree. This tree can be regarded as one of the most magnificent wonders of nature. It's around 250 years old and spreads over an area of about 14,500 square meters. It's also been recorded as the widest tree in the entire world. If you look at it from a distance, you'll easily mistake it for a natural forest. But in reality, all these trees you see are called aerial roots, and this great banyan tree has about 3,200 of these roots. Unfortunately, the 51-foot wide trunk of this tree had to be resected to save it from a fungal attack that preyed on the tree after a few storms hit it in the 19th century. The tree still stands in all its glory and is closely monitored by experts. Besides that, visitors from around the world also enjoy exploring this miraculous tree. Pushing people in the subway. Did you ever wonder how many people could be placed in one metro wagon? It can be easily checked in Japan. Japanese subways have so many passengers during rush hour that there are special workers, or shiya, who push people into trains. Their goal is to squeeze in as many people as possible into a subway train. They wear white gloves and push people into a train so that the doors can be shut. It sounds so surreal that it has to be seen or felt to be believed. Cat Island. The Tashirojima Island, located in Japan, is probably the only place where the cat population is larger than the human population. The felines have become the primary inhabitants of this island and are present in a huge number, and that's exactly why the place has been dubbed Cat Island. The majority of these cats are stray, but the locals consider them a sign of good luck and fortune. The residents of the island therefore take care of these felines and feed them like their own. The town collectively cares for these cats as they are generally considered feral, and taking even a single one in is considered inappropriate. The residents think of it as an attempt at hoarding the good luck for oneself, and that's morally wrong. The Scarecrow Village. This artistic tribute was created in the Nagora village. This village has an ancient and unique set of traditions to which the locals adhere even today. The Japanese have considered the bringing shame to their family a mortifying act since the beginning. They are bound to honor what their family members build for the future, and if any of their actions dishonor them, they're expected to go into exile or commit suicide. Now, that may be extreme, but it's true. Similarly, the Nagora village practices a unique tradition to honor their deceased. The artists of this village create life-size replicas of the deceased person doing something they were known for. These scarecrows are then featured around the village. The audience may be thinning down annually owing to the residents leaving and barely anyone coming to live here. Maybe these creepy scarecrows are one of the reasons people are migrating from here. The Narelata flowers. Ever heard of this flower, the Narelata or Liathampara? It has gained popularity on the web due to its shape, which looks like that kid woman. The Narelata or Narelatha plant is said to grow only in the Himalayan region in India and bloom at an interval of 20 years. The flowers resembling a naked woman can be seen around the web, social media sites and forums, but with no credibility. The information about this flower obviously shattered netizens, but what makes it more mystifying is that neither are there images of the tree or its entirety nor nature journals available. The point is that it seems impossible for scientists and botanists to have not discovered this flower if it really exists. While the ancient stories regarding Narelata, which may be myth, support these claims, some believe that it has been created just to attract attention and gain popularity on the internet. But the question here is, does this flower plant really exist? If not, what's the base of the images floating on the internet? China's nail houses. These are houses left behind after the Industrial Revolution, the perfect example of industry against the interest of people. These nail houses are residences whose owners had refused compensations from property developers. They rejected the demolition of their homes and chose not to take the money and relocate. This forces the companies to back off and only a fraction of the property can be demolished while the rest stands. As for the development, well, it has to go around the property. China has many such houses, and despite the owners trying hard to retain their beloved homes, developers won't make it easy for them to stay. They find many creative ways to torture the residents into submission, from building busy highways around these houses to cutting off their electric and water supplies. They take all sorts of ruthless measures. But despite this bullying, thousands of nail houses stand proudly, telling the developers they can't always get their way. Train in China that passes directly through a residential building. Designing a train route requires a lot of consideration. Can someone imagine designing a train route passing through high-rise buildings? Yes, it happened in the Chinese city of Shenzhen, where someone planned a rail route without knowing that there was a 19-story building just next to route number 2. Well, they resolved the issue by converting one story of the building into a tunnel for the train. Perhaps it added to the misery of people because of the train noise. The train passing through the residential building presents an astonishing view. Authorities have used the story as a train stop. Surprisingly, the building has become multi-purpose, residential as well as a train station. Well, the residents of the building have got no excuse to get late to work as the train is available just next door. Deadly exclusion zones. Despite all our efforts and strength, we humans are helpless before Mother Nature. One such example of this helplessness is these dreadful exclusion zones. The community was built and advanced over decades, but nature wiped it out in the snap of a finger. In the footage, you can see the earthquake and tsunami-struck areas of Japan. When storms threaten to cause more harm than your average natural disaster, like a nuclear incident, people evacuated these areas forever to avoid becoming prey to man-made disasters. For instance, we all remember how Chernobyl forced all of its population out, and to date, humans can't live there. These exclusion zones are therefore a necessity. World's tallest statue. Recently, India has revealed the tallest statue in the world and has named it the Statue of Unity. This is a tribute to a very famous and beloved Indian independence leader and is around 600 feet tall. The construction of this magnificent piece of art cost the country nearly $500 million. Now, this huge sum has been a point of controversy, as many of the locals thought this was an act of sheer overspending and this money could have been used to actually help the common man. A lot of the people weren't fans of the particular public figure either, and therefore police had to be deployed around the statue to keep the protesters away. Well, hoping that a huge and absurdly expensive statue would unite a terribly torn country seems like quite an overestimation on the part of the Indian government. Funky drink flavors. Japan has an interesting selection of sodas you'd like to try, particularly Pepsi varieties. A few years ago, they introduced a salty watermelon Pepsi, which would sound like an expensive cocktail if it wasn't for the Pepsi part. The soda giant also thought Japanese consumers might enjoy ice cucumber Pepsi, introduced in 2007. It's definitely one I'd like my taste buds to experience. Then in 2011 they released Pepsi Pink, strawberry and milk-flavored beverage which I'm guessing would taste glorious, a little like a carbonated strawberry milkshake. Another popular variety in Japan is Pepsi White, which apparently tastes like yogurt. Now, that's something you've got to taste.
Urine-soaked eggs. China is a place with many unusual annual traditions. including a mud-flinging festival in the country's tropical southwest and a June celebration of eating worms. But one of the most exotic rituals comes in spring, when residents of Dongyang in coastal Zhejiang province chow down on eggs simmered in steaming pots of, wait for it, boy's urine. Sold since ancient times as virgin boy eggs, the local delicacy was officially listed as intangible cultural heritage in Dongyang in 2008. Many residents believe they energize the body, improve blood circulation, and prevent heat stroke. They're also a bargain at around 25 cents an egg, urine included. Across Dongyang, a bustling city of nearly 1 million people, fresh urine is collected every day from the buckets placed in elementary school hallways, where boys under the age of 10 are instructed to answer nature's call, as long as they're not sick, out of concern for, food safety. Some vendors even carry around empty bottles and wait in parks or public bathrooms until they find a parent willing to let a prepubescent son participate in the custom. Don't turn up your nose at the virgin boy eggs. It's a hot commodity in Dongyang. People actively compete to obtain the whittle, and street vendors can turn a tidy profit from selling them on the street. Some vendors have been in business for decades.
Largest cave in the world. Researchers have just recently realized that the most extensive tunnel system in the world has much more to offer than we expected. The discovery that these grim-looking and dangerous underwater passages eventually connect to Vietnam's cave system, so technically this is one huge cave. This system is one of the least explored and risky landscapes out there. Even the people studying these closely aren't sure how extensive they are or how deep they go. It's been predicted that this system is a result of both human and natural activity. These caves were what gave the Vietnamese troops an advantage in the war and contributed to the element of surprise by which they defeated the enemy. Whale rocks. These rocks named Hen Sen Wan vividly look like whales. These three pieces of rock are nicknamed three whale rocks. From a distance, these three lined-up rocks seem to be a family of whales swimming at the edge of a raised cliff. These are believed by some to be about 75 million years old. Whale rocks are located within the conservation area of the Kala Rainforest, Phu Sing Forest, and Dong Chung Pu Forest. For taking remarkable pictures, you need to walk on the rock in the middle. These can be reached through various trails. From here, tourists can see the beaches of Mi Kong, the fountains of the packaging district of Laos, and Phu Hoa Forest. A good place to watch the sun setting. Hin Ta and Hin Yai. There lies a very fascinating pair of rocks at the southern end of Lamai Beach in Thailand. Since the rock has been discovered, it has been a source of giggles and gossip. And this is so because it looks like male and female genitalia. These rocks are known as Grandpa and Grandma since Ta means grandpa and Yai means grandma. There is a famous story behind these rocks. As the story goes, an old couple named Ta Kreng, meaning Grandpa Kreng, and Yai Riem, meaning Grandma Riem, decided to sail to the neighbouring province of Prachuap Khiri Khan to ask for the hand of the daughter of a man named Ta Mong Lai for their son. During their sea journey, their boat was seized by a storm and the old couple were unable to swim ashore. It is believed that they died at sea, turning into these giant rocks. We would recommend visiting this place if you ever visit Thailand, but we can't say if seeing these shaped rocks would be a bit embarrassing if you're with the family. Invasive arapaima in river. Arapaima fish is native to South America, and finding it in the Asian waters is quite a strange incident. They keep on moving around frequently, therefore also known as the river monster. They grow up to 10 feet long and have been introduced to many tropical zones where at times these are treated as invasive species. When rivers overflow, fish are dispersed to surrounding forests. In some remote areas, due to decaying vegetation, the oxygen levels become too low for the survival of most fish. However, it doesn't apply to arapaima, that can breathe through its extremely small gills. It takes air using a modified swim bladder opening into the fish's mouth and functions as a lung. It can survive for about 24 hours outside the water. Terracotta Army. Amongst all the Asian wonders, how can anyone forget the mysterious and enormous army of soldiers made of terracotta? It was in 1974 when farmers accidentally discovered what is now regarded as the most significant archaeological discovery in the region. These life-size soldier sculptures belong to the army of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. It was constructed between 259 BC and 227 BC, and the historians thought it had been destroyed during the final years of the emperor's reign. And since his tomb was untraceable, Researchers just assumed this army had been lost to time, but as it turns out, it was right here hiding under our noses. This army was constructed to defend the Emperor in the afterlife. Well, we have to say he must have had quite an ego to be so arrogant that he assumed he would be an emperor in the afterlife too. But let's face it, ancient people were pretty weird. Bikini jeans. What do you get when you cross jeans with a bikini? The bikini jeans. This provocative hybrid of bikini and ultra-low-rise jeans is produced in Brazil, but finds its market mostly in Japan. If you'd like to set a new fashion trend in your neighborhood, give it a try. Amazing living fossil. You can see this transparent crustacean resembling a hybrid of a centipede and a horseshoe crab. This genus has been surviving for a long time. Some scientists believe up to 300 million years, which would make them the oldest known animals. They closely resemble tadpoles and shrimps and are resilient enough to adapt to the surrounding extreme conditions and survive. Their eggs can be incubated in water even after years of drought. Fossils attributed to this genus have been found in rocks that scientists believe go back 100 million years. Accordingly, they're called living fossils. Their origin is traced to the Triassic or Jurassic period. The primitive traces of living beings are found in the mountains that scientists believe were part of a supercontinent called Gondwana, whereas presently they can be found in Australia, Africa, South America, Asia, Europe, and some areas of North America. Ghost skyscraper. At present, Saturn Unique Skyscraper presents a haunted scene. In the 1990s, when the Thai economy was booming, developers envisioned a city having offices and residential skyscrapers, and this project was initiated. Unfortunately, economic development retarded and led to the biggest financial crisis in the country. Numerous construction projects were abandoned, including this 49-story tower. Subsequently, development work resumed, but some developers are still not ready to complete the projects. This skyscraper is also deserted, and people believe it to be occupied by ghosts. In 2014, a photographer discovered a corpse of a 30-year-old tourist in one bathroom on the 49th floor of the tower. Being an old graveyard, the area where the tower stands is off-limits. By June 2016, a fence made of tin surrounded Saturn Tower. Despite the warning that trespassers will be punished, people still reside there. Gajumaru Treehouse Diner. Juxtaposing nature on the ergonomic design of a city leads to a sharp contrast. In the Japanese city of Okinawa, a strange visual symbol has been created. An ancient gigantic banyan tree has been used for installing a Brooklyn on it. Its massive branches house a diner called Gajumaru Treehouse Diner, which overlooks the Naha Harbour. Approaching the diner through banyan tree staircases gives a unique feeling to travellers. The restaurant is known for its elegance and quietness. It offers Japanese, Korean, Thai, Chinese and Indian cuisine. Well, the tree is made of concrete instead of wood, so it's pretty safe. Still, it is attractive to visitors as its parts protrude like limbs of a hand overlooking the city. Sticky Waterfall. Boatong Waterfall is nicknamed the Sticky Waterfall. The name has been given due to the friction created by the limestone, which stops the visitors from slipping. It's easy to climb the waterfall with the help of ropes. The waterfall is formed by the water flowing from a spring up at a hill. Rough rocks made walking along the waterfall much easier. People can even climb here barefooted. At its entrance, you can enjoy the restaurants and picnic spots. Natural beauty makes a trip here joyful and pretty memorable. Strange aquatic creature. This footage went viral on the internet showing a crazy creature and is considered by many to be fake. This alien monster in pink seems to be an amphibious sea animal that moved to shore. The Japanese fisherman touched it with a stick, tried to flip it over, and finally decided to swig it with a carbonated beverage. The sea monster reacted explosively, making scary and potentially deadly movements. Well, we need to ponder whether it is a dreadful new alien species or just a hoax. These tourists roaming on the beach came across their big mushroom-like creature and felt scared how they still managed to film it for the world to see. The Railway Market. In this astonishing market, the shop owners have to shift their display items at the front every time a train has to pass on the track. The train has a schedule and shop owners can adjust their business accordingly. This market is famous as Collapsing Umbrella Market. Stalls in the market include vegetables, fruit, seafood, meat, sweet snacks, flowers and clothing. Before the arrival of the train, a warning alarm is blown on the loudspeaker. Within a few minutes of this warning, the vendors adjust the locations of their stalls before the train approaches the area. The market is not just famous for the novelty of trains, but also as one of the largest fresh seafood markets in the country. Snail milking in Thailand. Demand for snail secretions, particularly slime, in cosmetics has led farmers in Thailand to concentrate on snail farming. At the international level, slime industry has crossed over the $300 million mark. African giant snail species are used for slime harvesting. The process involves stimulating the snails by dripping water over them to secrete mucin. For getting the best quality of secretion, snails are fed vegetables and grains. Milking is carried out only once every 3 weeks. Slime is composed of glycoproteins and glycolic acids. Snails' cream and serums are used for stimulating collagen, retarding the onset of wrinkles, curing acne, and treating scar tissue. In the 1980s, breeders in Chile first noticed the utility of snail secretions. The first snail slime cream was also produced in Chile. However, recently it has become an important ingredient of beauty products in Korea and America. The cost of snail slime face masks may be up to $300. Modern toilet restaurant. Yes, you heard it right. Toilet. We're talking about Taiwan's most successful theme restaurant franchises, the Modern Toilet Restaurant. It has seats and couches shaped as toilets, poop-shaped lights and tiles with flies and poops drawn on them. Under the table glass, you'll find sinks with fake poop. Not just that, you'll get to drink Coke out of mini urinals and eat in toilet-shaped bowls. Even the menu is quirky, with items like crappy meat sauce fries and modern toilet bread. If all these weren't enough, you'll get to eat poop-shaped food items with your date. Though this place could be fun with someone you're already comfortable with, selecting it to go on a date is a big no-no. If you don't want to turn this first date into your last and make yourself feel too uncomfortable, you should definitely avoid this place for your first date. Sagami Bay Creature. Cameras overboard Hyperdolphin ROV caught a glimpse of some astonishing creature hiding at the bottom of Sagami Bay, southwest of Tokyo. Some people opine that it is a mythical ninja. The Japanese word means human and is generally believed to be a mysterious animal whose existence is unsubstantiated. The latest technological remotely operated crafts are sent to the deepest areas of the oceans for discovering new things. These areas generally comprise sandy shores from Sagami Bay to Manazuru Cape. Only tidal mudflats in the bay having important settlement grounds suitable for animals are found at the mouth of the river. It's really difficult to be sure about the authenticity of this creature. It is said to have been sighted as indicated by the supposed pictures which have not been confirmed as real. It is perceived to be a whale-like creature, however having an anatomical resemblance to humans.
The most crowded beaches ever. China is far and away the most populous nation on Earth, with more than 1.4 billion people living there. But it's also one of the largest countries on the planet, and it has thousands of miles of coastline, so you might not expect to see a beach so crowded as this one, despite the massive population. This is Shenzhen City's wildly popular Dalmatia Beach Park. Located in South China's Guangdong province, the beach has on occasion attracted more than 130,000 visitors on a single day. This and similar images help illustrate two things. One, China is indeed a populous country, and two, the Chinese have a very different concept of personal space than most Westerners.
Insane longtail boat racing. Small crafts, a bit larger than typical kayaks, are known as longtail boats, driven by only one person who guides it while sitting or kneeling. The boat is very popular among the numerous owners and teams who journey throughout the world to compete. Competitors strive for status. They take risks while racing and constantly adjust the course by altering the angle of the tail. Props are generally overpitched and run semi-submerged. They achieve slow steering by yawing the tail, whereas high-speed steering requires leaning and shifting the body weight in the desired direction. Competitors don't take safety measures like wearing helmets, life jackets, or even wetsuits, although boats attain speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. At this speed, ocean water acts like concrete, and any mishap can lead to loss of life or at least injuries.
The high-fashion pajama. You may have heard of China's long-time love affair with their comfortable pajamas. It's a passion so strong that you can often see the Chinese wearing their beloved printed cotton sets to the grocery store, walking the dog, or riding a bike. As a country with a massive population, there seems to be no social code of dress among citizens. It's not unusual to see a high-heeled fashionista walking next to a MIP, or man in pajamas, as the blog Mad About Shanghai describes them. The practice is so popular in Shanghai that in 2010, in the run-up to the World Expo, the local government, eager to present a civilized front, launched a campaign urging residents to stop stepping out in nightwear.
Beach demon. A giant statue of a woman is installed on the beach in Thailand. Probably it's the only one of its kind in the country. People can walk up to the statue when the tide is low. It seems to be scary as the locals attribute a strange legend to it. Songthornpoo is Thailand's most remarkable poet, and his most renowned poem is 30,000 lines in length. The poem narrates him playing the flute that makes people sleep and poisons them immediately. Besides this main statue, there are other small statues on either side of it that are accessible when the tide is out. The surroundings of the statue resembles a rundown area. Presently, the area is deserted, but about 20 years ago it used to be a popular destination. The Bat Cave. This cave is inhabited by an enormous number of scary bats. Thousands of bats rising from their cave in search of food in the moonlight present a unique scene. This remarkable sight can be observed near Khao Yai in Thailand. Thousands of bats fly out from the cave every night. This trip starts in the afternoon at about 3 p.m. Guides take tourists to show minerals in the underground cave. In addition to other activities, at sunset you can see swarms of bats leaving their caves for nighttime hunting. Hutong Cat Village. In the 1900s, Hutong was the most advanced coal mining location in Taiwan. Before the closure of the mine in 1990, it had a prosperous population of about 6,000. By 2010, Hutong started gaining fame when a cat-loving photographer commenced blogging regarding the growing population of stray cats. They're looked after by the villagers and a group of volunteers. Local authorities grabbed the opportunity to highlight its history. They constructed an award-winning pedestrian cat bridge with metal plates. In 2014, a cat information and education center having elevated walkways on the facade of the building was established. A museum park showing the town's former mining life, established in 2010, hosted a cat lantern festival in 2012. Efforts have borne fruit as the town draws over 1 million visitors each year. It's estimated that over 200 cats roam around on the streets, more than humans in the village. Yuyang Floating City. People have come up with all kinds of explanations for this mysterious footage, ranging from a secret NASA project to an alien invasion. Possibly it could be an atmospheric mirage referred to as Fata Morgana. It is created by the combination of dense air near the ground with a warmer layer above it. It's called temperature inversion. That's the opposite of what takes place in the atmosphere. These layers cause the bending of light rays in a manner that the human brain is deluded to perceive a large floating city apparition in the clouds. It usually happens over large water bodies, as air tends to be cooler near an ocean or lake surface. However, Fata Morgana can occur over land too. Allegedly, thousands of people saw this city-like apparition over a Chinese city. Big Buddha. An enormous golden statue of Buddha is located in a temple of Bangkok, and it weighs 5.5 tons of solid gold. Buddhists believe it to represent the true Buddha. The statue is 92 meters tall and 63 meters wide. It was completed in 2008 and towers above the populated farmlands in the surroundings. Historians are not aware of the temple's origins. Construction of unique Buddha statue took about 18 years, as it started in 1990 and was finished in 2008. About $3.75 million were expended on the construction of the statue. Early Buddhists created this statue to display the physical traits of the enlightened Buddha and to motivate meditation and encourage belief in reverence of divine power. Religiously motivated Buddhists believe it to be a living object and was meant to be worshipped. This unique Buddha is situated on the 4th floor of the Wat Trimet, the temple that stands as a landmark. Monster Python. Pythons may not have deadly venom stored in their sharp fangs, but they still are regarded as some of the deadliest reptiles on the planet. This terribly huge snake can strangle its prey with a bone-breaking strength because of its ability to constrict its body musculature with unimaginable power. And that's why the smallest of these pythons can easily kill a person. Despite being relatively less aggressive than most other species of snake, these monstrous beings pose a dire threat to humanity because they're pretty popular pets. Yes, people keep this thing in their homes as an actual pet. While most snake owners are aware of the type and behavioral characteristics of the snakes they own, still there's quite a few snake enthusiasts who just choose the python as a pet, thinking it isn't poisonous, but little do they know that the python doesn't need poison to shatter their bones and consume them whole in the night when they're sound asleep. After all, it's one of the largest snakes out there. It can even weigh you down simply by its weight. This reptile is so menacing that even giant mammals like elephants and hippos instinctively run for the hills when they see a python. We don't get how some humans feel confident enough to keep them as house friends. On average, a python can be nearly 23 feet long, and with its huge appetite, it can probably swallow a bunch of people alive. On average, there have been at least 2 confirmed reports of an entire being consumed by a python. The largest python yet discovered was 32 feet long and weighed about 350 pounds. Even the measurements of this snake are enough to send shivers down our spines. Here's to hoping we never come across this monster. Soil liquefaction in Japan. In 2011, this footage was filmed during an earthquake in Japan. The ground can be seen trembling and opening up on the reclaimed land located on Tokyo Bay. In this disastrous scene, nervous dogs are barking, water is seeping through minor splits in the sidewalk, the earth is cracking, whereas large buildings are shaking. It takes place regularly and is known as soil liquefaction. Rocks and heavy sand sink, whereas lighter sand and water rise to the surface. Shifting of the surface takes place when saturated soil loses strength, resulting from stress, such as shaking during an earthquake. The solid material is seen behaving like liquid, and it mostly occurs in low-density or uncompacted sandy soils. Damages caused by the earthquake in Japan in 2011 and the tsunami surprised geologists as it resulted in soil liquefaction. Crazy Java Chicken Church. An enchanted church is hidden deep inside an Indonesian jungle located on the island of Java. It resembles a giant chicken. The church is in the vicinity of the Hindu and Buddhist temples. Due to a shortage of resources, it was not fully furnished. It is said to be haunted by vampires from Indonesian folklore. Still, curious tourists and photographers from different religions are attracted to it. Recently, several floors of Chicken Church have been decorated with jeweled tiles, whereas the ceilings have been painted with clouds. Its walls are full of scenes from Indonesian mythology. 12 prayer rooms have been created from their catacombs. It possesses a cafe in the bird's posterior. Fake Paris. A Parisian replica measuring approximately 12 square miles has been constructed in China, about 6,000 miles away from Paris. It's known as the Paris of the East. The replicas include the Eiffel Tower and landscaped gardens that resemble the iconic Luxembourg Garden. You can find a copy of Champs-Élysées on the main square. Apartment blocks have also been built in Parisian style. It was designed to evoke classical European charm. A large number of tourists, including newlyweds, visit the Asian Paris annually. White Temple. Wat Rangoon Temple is surrounded by controversy and also is getting popular. It's full of freaky heads, unlike other places of worship. These heads hang from the surrounding trees, and the hands reach to anyone crossing the bridge leading to the main temple. It attracts a lot of tourists, but it started receiving negative attention on its first opening as it did not contain traditional artwork. The White Temple stands as a symbol of modern Thai art and forms an important part of Chiang Mai tourism. Recently, a $3.3 million laser light show was arranged here. Projects planned here are scheduled to be completed by 2070. Tree Buddha. Wat Mahatat, root-covered Buddha's head, is a surprising structure located in the former capital of Thailand. The Buddha's head is considered to be the most attractive and the most photographed archaeological feature in Thailand. It's made from the entangled roots of the ancient tree as Buddha's head peers out as if emerging from the bowels of the tree. Its history cannot be traced, but it presents a striking and lasting effect. Probably some thief placed it there and failed to retrieve it. Some people think it's linked to the 18th century when the city was run to the ground during the war. In the mid-20th century, the Thai government took steps to preserve the ruins and heritage. Rotting meat flower. Most astonishing among the variety of wildlife found in Thailand is the beautiful but rare species of flower visible only in this area that borders Malaysia. It's known as Rafflesia ornolea and is considered to be the largest flower on the globe, having a diameter of 1 meter and growing only in the jungles of Sumatra, Indonesia. The plant survives without roots, stems or leaves. Its only visible part on the ground is the flower resembling a giant red bowl having yellow spotted petals. It emits a stringent smell as if it is a rotting body. It's believed to be pollinated by flies. The plant is facing the threat of extinction as there are fewer in number, and people often trample on them or try to get too close to the flower and destroy them. A short lifespan spreading over just 9 months and then withering away also leads to the shortage of these plants. These foul-smelling gigantic flowers bloom during the dry season. Monk defying gravity. In this footage, a monk is observed walking up a steep rocky mountain. He doesn't show any sign of exhaustion and seems to enjoy the steep shortcut. He moved up without shoes while carrying a normal load and reached the top of the mountain within a short while. He faced no balance issue despite having none of the climbing gear or equipment necessary for such a climb. He seems to be climbing up effortlessly. One might attribute it to spiritual power, but actually hardened layers of skin are developed when it tries to protect itself against friction and pressure. It makes feet tough as well as durable. Accordingly, the monk has no problem even being barefoot while climbing uphill. He is perhaps a master as well as a gravity-defying climber. Koi fish in the draining canal. It's really hard to find koi fish in a drainage canal in any city in the world except in the Japanese city of Shimabara on Kyushu Island. Here, gutters are so clean that you can see colourful koi fish swimming as hundreds of them reside in a drainage canal. In 1792, an earthquake and tsunami hit the city and claimed more than 10,000 lives. However, it left behind an abundance of fresh water springs. Therefore, clean water flows freely throughout the canals in the city. Surprisingly, koi fish require very high-quality clean water for survival, and the presence of the fish here shows the high quality of the water is exceptional in these canals. Shimabara is also known as the City of Swimming Carp. Solar chicken. Sila Sutra, a 60-year-old person, has installed about 1,000 mirrors to converge sun rays on a rack of marinated chickens. He's devised this cooking system himself, and it is so effective that a complete chicken is cooked in just 12 minutes. For ensuring safety from immense heat created by the system, Sila puts on protective gear like welders. Initially, some people disliked this arrangement, but the delicious taste resulting from natural heat has convinced people to love it. For the last 2 decades, this roadside restaurant has formed part of a local phenomenon. In the last few years, Sila's solar cooking has been getting immense coverage on local media, including Thai TV and social media. Tourists prefer to dine at his restaurant. Sila and his wife cook 40 chickens and several sides of pork daily. Blue traffic lights. Traffic lights throughout the world have universal meanings. You would be surprised to know that traffic signals in Japan are blue. For resolving this riddle, we need to know a bit about the Japanese language. In the modern Japanese language, the word eo means blue, while the word midori means green. However, in the old Japanese, there were no separate terms for blue and green, and the word eo was used for both colors. Japan originally used green light for traffic signals, but they still use the term eo for it, which means blue. Japanese linguists objected to the use of the wrong term for the wrong color. Finally, in 1973, the government comprised and made the traffic light blue instead of green without changing the name. So in Japan, the traffic light combination is blue, yellow and red instead of the universal green, yellow and red. Square watermelons. Being a food and fruit enthusiast, you might like to try the square watermelons of Japan. While passing through the supermarket, you would find fancier little cube watermelons displayed in the produce section. You may find it weird, but square watermelons are very common in Japan, but these are much more expensive and not purchased as a routine. Their prices start from $100 and can go up. Except for the shape, square watermelons have no other difference than normal watermelons. Beer Bottle Temple. In Thailand, this Buddhist temple is made of glittering beer bottles and stands in the lovely pond. It's the most eco-friendly temple in the country, called Wilderness Temple of the Great Glass Pagoda, and also renowned as the Temple of a Million Bottles. In 1984, Buddhist monks in northeastern Thailand brought the community together by starting 100 beer bottles on the wall challenge. They made about 20 buildings using bottles. 2 types of bottles have been used, which include green Heineken bottles and brown Chang bottles. Seeing the use of bottles as construction material, the local government sent more bottles, and the monks are building more structures from these bottles. Public baths. It would be a weird idea to enjoy a bath in public, but those who've seen Japanese anime dramas would be familiar with Japanese public bathrooms. In Japan, public baths are called sento, and their history dates back to the 6th century. However, their popularity reached the highest level during the Edo period from 1603 to 1868. Bathhouses are dual-purpose, cleaning as well as a place to relax. There are a few peculiar things related to Japanese public baths. Most of the bathhouses permit people with tattoos, but some don't. Baths are separated based on gender. You may feel conscious due to the people around, but a hot spring bath is a special place to get rid of stress. Chinese geese police. Sharp, keen and bold geese have proved to be the most valuable tool in crime fighting in China. Law enforcement agents describe geese as a prime factor in instability and maintenance work. They prove better than dogs in tackling crimes. Recently, a gaggle of geese police frightened a person who had illegally entered into local police headquarters. He drugged 2 police dogs and climbed over the wall. While trying to escape, he came across a group of 20 geese who fanned their wings and shrieked. The officer on duty woke up and caught the thief red-handed. Geese are more effective than dogs as they are kept in groups. Due to weak eyesight, they're less susceptible to poisoning. They make a huge fuss when threatened. They can positively contribute towards crime fighting in the future. Elephant Tower. In Thailand, the elephant has a unique status. People have a great affinity with things shaped like an elephant. One wealthy family started collecting everything resembling an elephant, and finally they decided to build a tower in the shape of an elephant. They hired expert designers and architects to design their dream building. At last, the building was constructed, but it seemed more like an abstract art condominium compared to the shape of an original elephant. In this mammoth building, 2 round gigantic windows represent eyes, whereas balconies look like ears. Tail and tusk are in distinct ivory color. This towering elephant overlooks the Thai city as an omen of good luck. It's quite strange, but the most renowned feature. Therefore, anyone living in this building just needs to tell about the elephant instead of narrating his address. Forest City, Malaysia. Malaysia plans to raise a green iconic city on reclaimed land on 4 artificially built islands around an artificial forest ecosystem. Its location in the proximity of the advanced independent city-state of Singapore offers an incredible attraction to investors. Singapore possesses the second busiest port in the world with a thriving economy. Already, the forest city has been connected with Singapore via Second Link Bridge, which has reduced the travelling distance between both cities just to 20 minutes. Exclusive custom facilities have been planned at the forest city for providing hurdle-free movement to the residents. The design incorporates several green innovations like buildings with green rooftops and vertical gardens, presenting a jungle experience. City streets have a multi-layered design with a lower layer dedicated to traffic and parking spaces, whereas the upper layer has theme parks, sports facilities and transport hubs. Forest City will be provided with clean renewable energy and is planned to be completed by 2035. Its cost is estimated to be $100 billion. The first of the proposed 4 islands is near completion. It has 50 apartment buildings, swimming pools, golf courses and beaches on board. This thematic city is confronting a multitude of hurdles, including economic as well as political ones. The project being funded by China resulted in almost free passage to the city for Chinese residents during the initial few years of its construction that led to the rush of wealthy Chinese citizens who could not match the soaring prices of apartments in their native country. By the end of 2019, almost 80% of property owners in the forest city were Chinese. Its street signs had signs in Mandarin, and few schools operating the city offered courses in Mandarin. The exorbitant property prices set in the backdrop of Chinese investors has made it totally out of the buying power of native Malaysians that has created a public outcry, and its ardent opponents terming it to be a new form of colonialism. On taking over the premiership, Mahathir Mohamad banned ownership of property by the foreigners. Resultantly, foreigners began to leave the city, whereas the new investors were also discouraged. Worldwide travel bans in the wake of the pandemic also caused a setback to the city economy. Due to looming uncertainty, less than 500 persons actually lived in the city by 2020, whereas the city is designed for over 700,000 people. Woes for the city are continuing as over 1,000 Malaysian workers were laid off during the pandemic. It seems to be too ambitious, too futuristic and immensely politically challenged, and these factors in turn diminish its chances of early success. Rupkund Lake, India. There are certain things you never want to find in any body of water. Piranhas is one. The decaying remains of hundreds of humans who've died a terrifying death is another. Yet that's exactly what British troops found in Rupkund Lake in the winter of 1942. It being wartime and all, the Brits naturally assumed that they were at the scene of a Japanese massacre. The truth was far, far stranger. When the bones were examined, it turned out they'd all dated to around 850 AD. On top of that, they'd all been killed in a similar way, with a blow to the head that cracked their skulls. The injury matched no known weapon. So what could have caused 200 people to die in this way?
The eventual answer scientists came up with was hailstones. Really, really big hailstones. There's an old song from the region around Rupkund about a mountain goddess who smote a bunch of travellers with a titanic hailstorm. It's now thought that this is a folk memory of a real event, and a freak hailstorm that dropped baseball-sized chunks of solid ice killed all 200 pilgrims in the valley when they couldn't reach shelter. Over time, the valley filled with water, eventually becoming the skeleton-haunted Rupkund Lake.
David Beckham Temple. David Beckham Temple is one of the several odd temples located in Thailand. It is the nickname used for Wat Poriwat Temple situated in central Bangkok. In 1999, David Beckham's statue was erected here. In addition to this statue, several other mythical artworks do not fit in the overall theme of Buddhism. Several other characters, including Albert Einstein, are found in Thai temples. You can explore the next door temple that's being constructed and is likely to remain in this state for the next decade. Some people opine that statues of superheroes are erected in temples as a symbol of good and they could protect Buddhism. Maybe it's a way to attract more tourists.
Napping is a national treasure. Even as the classic Spanish siesta has largely been relegated to the past, in China the nap is alive and well. You'll see Chinese people from all walks of life taking naps with regularity, from the field hand to the Communist Party official to the factory worker to the businessman, and often in very public places. The wellspring of the Chinese nap is almost surely the same as the aforementioned Spanish siesta, with farmers from generations past vacating the field during the hottest part of the day. But today the nap is seen as a semi-spiritual practice that allows one to rebalance their qi, or energy, and keep on with a productive day.
Capsule hotels. The capsule hotels are peculiar lodging places, but claustrophobic people will probably not opt to stay here. These are compact, small, but still very cozy. These are preferred options for tourists having a low budget, but several tourists book these hotels just for the experience. Inside a capsule, one gets a mattress, a pillow, a blanket, and a bit of space for storing belongings. You'll also find controllable night lights. You would be required to buy a shower card if you're interested to take a bath. It's an affordable accommodation, as for a single person, one night rent costs around 3,000 to 4,000 yen, which roughly amounts to $30. Wine, coffee, and green tea bath. You can have a unique bathing experience in wine, coffee, and green tea at the exotic spa called the Unison Spa Resort in Japan. The liquids used for the bath are a bit unorthodox, but it offers a life experience like royalty, and baths in wine which would rejuvenate your entire body. The most notable figure to undergo this unique experience include the Egyptian Queen Cleopatra. You can drink wine while bathing in wine in unison. For removing blemishes, you can undergo a sake bath, whereas for boosting your immune system, a green tea bath is the most suited. Those fond of coffee can begin their day with a blast of caffeine at unison by immersing themselves in it. One of the spa specialties for visitors is a caffeine-loaded bath with coffee brewed with water from the natural hot springs of Hakone. Rent a girlfriend. Japan has a wonderful rent-a-girlfriend service. You might be confused or not ready to believe. Japanese have an elaborate service where people can rent a girlfriend by paying the requisite price. A large number of companies offer this service and they have their websites for easy access. Therefore, you can browse the internet to select a girlfriend and find whether she is available for service or not. You might consider it an absurd proposition, but we assure you it is a serious industry in Japan. There are several specific conditions and requirements for those who want to be an employee of a rent-a-girlfriend company. Women with boyfriends are not permitted to apply unless they get permission from their boyfriends. They usually give preference to women who are aesthetically more pleasing. Their preferences also include women who are very good at making conversation. Although you may think these things are a bit bizarre, the rental services like this one are gradually gaining popularity in Japan. In addition, more and more tourists are also looking forward to trying the rental service as well. Perhaps it's not the only rental service that you can have in Japan. You can get a boyfriend, a friend, or even a family member on rent. You have to pay a different price for each category. Usually companies charge 6,000 yen per hour for a minimum duration of 2 hours. It's about $100. For the first time, one can usually pick who they want to take out for free. However, later on they have to pay additional charges of about 2,000 yen or about $15 to choose the one they want to take out. Bullet trains. Shinkansen, or bullet trains, is the fastest and most convenient means of traveling. However, it can be confusing to find the right direction of travel. Therefore, you need to research your route before starting a journey. Despite having a very extensive railway network, there are elaborate signs and maps everywhere for guiding travelers. The Tokaido Shinkansen, running through Tokyo, Nagoya, Kyoto and Osaka, is the most popular and the oldest route. The bullet train is a technological marvel. Shinkansen is operated by Japan Railways. The trains reach up to a speed of 330 km per hour and are famous for punctuality. There have been no fatal accidents of bullet trains in Japanese history. Recently, Japan has started testing the next generation of bullet trains called Alpha X that can attain a speed of up to 400 km an hour. However, due to safety reasons, permitted speed is 360 km per hour. Fancy toilet. Japan has a reputation for neat and clean establishments and public restrooms. Some Japanese toilets are quite fancy. In addition to cleanliness, some restrooms offer certain exceptional features such as a built-in bidet that you can control. It has a front and back stream for convenient cleaning. During freezing temperatures, you can enjoy heated seats, whereas for hotter weather, some toilets have an air-conditioned toilet rim. They also have inbuilt air deodorizers. Some fancier ones also have speakers to jam while using the toilet. They also have glow-in-the-dark options. Vending machines galore. Japan is the greatest contender for having the weirdest and most awesome vending machines. You can find limited brand drinks being offered by vending machines in most countries of the world, but in Japan you can get almost anything from vending machines. You can get ramen, ice cream, toys, grapes, cakes and also popcorn. Usually the older vending machines accept cash payments in the denominators of 10, 50, 100 and 500 yen coins, whereas newer vending machines can scan your cards and drop you a hot meal in just a few moments. You can also find vending machines that drop some onigiri spaghetti, French fries, and even a face mask. Rest assured that food delivered through these vending machines is absolutely clean, as the Japanese people are extremely conscious of cleanliness. The food expiration date is printed on its packaging. KFC for Christmas. Christmas celebrations vary throughout the world. In the USA, people like potatoes and apple pie or eggnog for dessert. People in Japan follow a long tradition of getting KFC for Christmas. Japanese preference for KFC is so substantial that about 3.6 million families purchased fried chicken from KFC. According to the story, the manager of the first KFC in the country, Takeshi Okawara, thought to sell a party barrel on Christmas Day. Since that day, it is considered a national tradition. The Christmas barrel is a bit special, as besides the usual chicken and sides, the meal includes cake and wine. Kamakya Temple. While a large percentage of people in India continue to remain aloof when it comes to speaking out loud about menstruation and the issues faced by women, a temple that is well worn with time celebrates one of the most natural biological processes. Located on the Nilachal Hill in the capital city of Guwahati, the deity of the temple, Kamakya Devi, is revered as the bleeding goddess. It's believed that the Garbhagriha, or the sanctum sanctorum of the temple, houses the mythical womb and genitals of the Hindu goddess Shakti. Curiously enough, every year during the month of Ashad or June, the Brahmaputra river near Kamakya turns red. It's believed that the goddess menstruates during this period. But what is most ironic about the temple is that women are not allowed to enter it when they are menstruating. Legend has it that Sati once fought with her husband Lord Shiva to attend her father's great yagna. Despite his disapproval, she went on to attend the yagna. However, Shiva wasn't invited and also had to bear the insult of Sati's father, Daksha. Sati couldn't bear this and committed suicide. When Lord Shiva got to know about it, he was furious. Placing Sati's body on his shoulders, he did Tandava, the dance of destruction. Trying to calm him down, Lord Vishnu cut the body with his chakra, parts of which then fell at 108 different places, all of which later came to be known as Shakti Peeths. Sati's womb is said to have fallen at Kamakya Temple, hence the significance.
Family Planning Certificate. Shotgun weddings are not exactly a thing in the People's Republic. Married couples have to apply for and be approved for a family planning certificate, formerly known as birth permit, 3 months before or after the pregnancy. And only with a certificate will your baby be considered legal. It gives an entirely new meaning to Planned Parenthood. That's not all. After delivering her baby, a mom has to sit in bed for 30 days, suffering a restrictive confinement, which is, according to traditional Chinese medicine, supposed to be good for her to recover. No bathing, no washing her hair, and no walking. But the trade-off is being fed loads of nutritious food, like chicken soup. Honestly? No wonder you've got to get a license to have kids. It also includes a month of breakfast in bed.
So folks, that was all about the strangest things discovered in Asia over the recent years. We hope you enjoyed this and learned something new. Do tell us in the comments which one of these is your favourite. We look forward to hearing from you guys. Keep watching our channel for more informative videos. See you all next time.